Hello, Oracles. How are you guys doing today? Little bit red, and I jumped on a few seconds early because this joke. Did you? Hold on a second. I gotta put this up. Where are we at here? Did you hear about the Tesla owner in jail? He was charged with battery. It's right up my alley. I love that. That is awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So today we are going to be discussing, to start, the cup and handle that we were talking about yesterday. So I wanted to discuss that with you guys and share, these patterns and different things. And I know I don't do it during my normal videos just because of the way I record, and I don't have a lot of time to go through and edit them. So I apologize for that. But I can do it here on the live streams. So what I'm going to do is jump on and do a share screen with you now. So here is the cup and handle pattern. Let me blow it up for you. So this right here is what we were looking at for Tesla. So we are looking right now at the peak at, let me get this off of here. Kairov, working out, very good, taking care of your health. That is very important. We will be having Dr. Jack on here in the near future to discuss health along with wealth. So that's awesome. So looking here, so we've got May 4th is when we started the rim of the cup here. So then we come down. This is the bottom of the cup where we consolidated. And then we came back up on the other side. And then here it is on August 4th. So about 12 weeks, almost exactly, we ended up at the top of the rim on the other side. But now this here, during this follow-up consolidation, that is the handle. So cup and handle. And so now from here, we say, all right, well, where are we going from here? So from here, we say, well, we are looking for a breakout. When are we going to break out? So now I'm going to bring up an example chart that we've got. And here's an example chart, which is hilarious because the dates line up almost perfectly. So here's, the cup that we were just seeing, and here's the handle. And now, as we were talking before about the fact that, we consolidate and we could potentially see this dip going into September and then a massive bounce as soon as we get, maybe Q3 production and delivery numbers, whatever the catalyst is going to be that springs us around. Maybe it's the FOMC meeting and they go more dovish, similar to what we had been projecting all year long, thinking that we're going to have a seemingly hawkish Fed going into the September FOMC meeting. And then all of a sudden they come out and they're actually more dovish. Maybe we get the September CPI data that comes out. Ooh, inflation did come down significantly more. The Fed can go more dovish. And then we get this massive run up in the entire market, and Tesla follows suit because Tesla has a beta of 2.0. So it's going to move more than the broader market. So this could essentially be what we run into over the next month. Is this run down here after the cup and handle, we get the good catalyst news, and then we run up from here. Now, again, this doesn't have to play out. This is just an example, but it's almost an exact example of what we are currently looking at when we are looking at our current chart. I mean, it's almost perfect. So again, doesn't need to play out that way, but it's certainly looking like it is going to. Now, looking at the levels we had discussed before, where we were kind of trading between the 850 and 950 levels, and more precisely like 840 and 940. And then we were trapped between 900 and 940, wondering if we were going to break above 940 or if we were going to break down below 900. Well, we have now broken below 900. So looking at where we're at now, we may end up falling down to that 840 level and test that bottom of the range again. So we had done it previously when we were at 620. We kind of hit that level twice and then came up. And someone else on Twitter had pointed out that we hit this double top at 940, and that was our double test. And when you get that double test, you often come falling down, which again falls right in line with our example pattern, which we hit that double top. It's not exact here, but we hit a double top and then we come down. So if this does end up playing out, we could see this fall. Maybe we hit 940. I don't know if we will get down to the point where we fill those gaps at 742 and 776. When we look at the split, I'm going to take a look at the charts because I can't visualize it right now until we actually get the split, because I don't know if by getting the split and compressing everything by 2/3, if we're going to get to that point where, it still holds within that same level. we'll see when that comes around. I will do that. So it'll be next week. So next Friday's live stream, I will redo this, and we'll be able to take a look at it again with the new updated numbers at post split. Which, by the way, next Thursday we are splitting. By the way, folks, awesome. Is it Thursday? My goodness, what day of the week? It's been a trying week. Yes, next Thursday we will be waking up and it will be split. So again, we could fall. Maybe we stay in that channel and then we fill that 742, which at that point will be 247. And if we fill that gap, then we bounce up and then we run into the end of the year. So again, doesn't have to play out, but just looking at the patterns, looking at how we are trading, this is looking like a possibility for us in the future. So this is another reason why they say that a cup and handle is a great long-term buying opportunity, because you see this consolidation and it's most likely going to lead to a breakout. Now, with the example as we see, we could see it actually come down a little bit before we break out. So even now, still a great buying opportunity if we have this coming in front of us. Do you want to take a chance and buy down here and see if it does fall? I don't know. That's why I do it both ways. I do my dollar cost average and hold the cash on the side, because if we do end up getting this is where I'm going to dump half of my cash in. Not financial advice. This is just what I am doing, but I will be unloading half of my cash if we do get this and we test that 840 level. I'm still going to dollar cost average my way down to it. So I do my daily ads. And then like today, I added at 895 and 883. So if we're falling, I'm just going to add as we fall. So that is my version of deploying half of my cash. But at these levels, I will be adding. And then once we do see this bounce, if we see the consistent bounce and we are breaking out of this downward channel, then I'm going to probably be at right at this point here. That's where I would be adding a little bit heavier, knowing that we are most likely going to be running up like this. Again, that's just my strategy. That's how I'm playing this. There's going to be a lot of other factors involved. Technical analysis is just part of what I do. I also follow the sentiment. I follow the news that's going on out there. But oftentimes the chart does follow the sentiment, because again, if you're looking at algorithms that are being run by hedge funds, by institutions, they're playing all of these as well. And they're the ones who are inputting the data. So they're putting in this data, right around this mark here and saying, all right, well, at this point here, now that we have fallen, if CPI data comes in at XYZ level, comes in 7.8, then we are going to buy. That's a buy level for us. That's how those algorithms work. They have human input coming in, putting whatever information they want it to. That's what's going to cause that trigger. So that's why I've got to follow the news, follow the sentiment, see what else is going on out there. But again, this is just something we're going to be tracking, and I will keep you guys posted on the movements daily. But again, when you're seeing the movements up and down, or if you see us coming down into the split, which I know is kind of odd as we've been talking about us running into the split, but if we do end up coming down into the split, you'll at least understand a little bit more why. And again, when your emotions come into it, be like, why are we falling into the split? This is madness. This could explain why. Just jumping over to your questions here. Let me see here. What's going on, Willie? Yes, virtual power plant. I didn't get a chance to dive into this fully yet. I saw Sawyer Mera had tweeted it. This is going to be huge. The virtual power plant is awesome. Again, I don't have many details on it. I'm going to be looking into it over the weekend. But I was talking to somebody else over on Twitter today about, when Tesla comes out with this and they've got, their ability to, what was the terminology? Let me jump over to here. The auto bidder. So when you've got auto bidder out there, being able to drop rates down like they could, you get these giant things. Here in Connecticut, we've got Eversource, and I know other places in New England also use Eversource. So when you've got that, like I have a town-used utility where I live. My town is its own utility company, and our rates are significantly lower than Eversource is, because the town has their own. They don't have to worry about it. So Tesla can do basically that on a mass scale at a much lower cost. So if Tesla can do that, they're going to be able to undercut all of these massive power companies significantly. And people are going to be like, well, if I can save 75% on my electric bill by switching over to solar and Tesla, why would I not? So we're going to see this coming, and it's going to be like a sleeper. It's like the semi right now is kind of a sleeper coming in. We're going to end up getting the same thing when it comes to energy, but it's going to be significantly larger. Yes, Jerry. It could possibly run before the split or after the split or before and after the split. It could run or it could fall or it could go any direction. I know I'm very confusing, but I know where you're going with this, Jerry. But for me, I want to give you guys all the different scenarios that can play out. So instead of telling you, hey, it is going to do this, because I don't know which way it is going to go. But if I can give you the different things that I see, then at least you guys have a little more information to be able to do your own due diligence. Because I know many of you are following a lot of other people as well. You're following your own thing. Some of you do know how to read charts. So you're doing your own thing. I'm just giving you my insights and what I see to help you give you just a more information to make a better decision for your own investing. A split, does it really, Willie? Because I know when we split the first time, I thought we were a beta of about 2 before the 5-to-1 split, and we're still a beta of 2. But I will track that next week because maybe I'm wrong, but I was pretty sure we were a beta of 2 before the last split. But again, when we do split, we'll have more shares out there. And it's really when the institutions come in that will kind of bring the beta down. Let's see. Angry Bald Man, happy Bald Man here. Actually, after this week, I was very stressed this week. I got to tell you, after coming back from vacation, where I'm like, oh, my batteries are recharged. And within 4 hours of getting back to work, my batteries were empty again. This was a rough week. So the ramps of Berlin in Texas, don't know a lot about Texas. I know Kyrov is on right now. I don't even know if he knows, but if you know, please share what your information is on Austin. But Berlin, based on what we know now, we have seen VIN numbers coming out with 18,000s and 19,000s. That gives us an indication that we're somewhere around probably 7,500 vehicles right now produced for the quarter and getting ready to deliver. So seeing as we're halfway through the quarter, looking at about 12 to 15,000 by the end of Q3. Now, with that said, we are looking at 5 days of production right now with 2 shifts. Come October, we are looking at adding a 3rd shift and potentially a 6th day. So that is going to give us enough production time to be able to get us to 25 to 30,000 and do another doubling in Q4. So that is what we know for Berlin right now. So not like Shanghai was in the beginning, but we also know that they're also ramping up the 4680s. They have been testing them. We are anticipating the 4680s about October to start coming into actual production over there, maybe sooner because they've already started testing. We'll see on that, but we know that the 4680s really aren't looked at until next year. Next year is when the 4680s are going to come in, and we've already seen over in Shanghai with the new batteries that they're using from the upgrades that they're getting 10% more range out of those. I don't know any other specs out of them, if they're going to be looking at better charging times, better capacity, what's coming out of those batteries other than the better range. But if we're looking at something similar when it comes to the 4680s in Berlin, this is going to be very significant going into next year. And it's not so much the 4680s themselves about the fact that they're coming into the vehicles, but it's going to be when you're looking at the bottom line, the fact that they cost a lot less and they're going to be faster and more efficient to produce. That's where we're going to see the big difference. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys are crazy today. This is awesome. 3120. Great job, Willie. I'm up to I should be get to 11 because I've been adding heavier. So I'm almost at 11. I'll definitely hit 11. Depending on how much we fall next week, might just dump in to get to 12. But for me, either way, again, valuation does not change when we hit the split. So I'm not just going to dump in ahead of the split to get it to split, because if I buy it afterwards and we do drop down like we see here, then there's a good chance that I might be able to actually get more after the split. So we'll see. I'm going to play it out that way. 840 this week. Well, obviously this week is over, but I know what you mean by next week. By the split, if the market opens on Monday red and we continue a downtrend like this, it's possible. This downtrend right now, I think, was really sort of what we saw in previous months. I think June is when we saw it last, was when the Fed came out and they were pretty hawkish in June. And we saw the market selling off. And you got to remember what happens is when the Fed comes out and says, hey, we're anticipating a 75 basis point hike. There's a lot of other numbers that go into this and say, well, if the Fed's expecting a 75 basis point hike, that means that PE compression should be at X number. That means that these stocks should be at X number, and everything trades accordingly. And usually it takes 3, maybe 4 trading days for the stocks and the whole entire market to hit those levels that they would be trading at. And then we kind of go from there and wait for the next data point. So seeing as the Fed came out recently and Bullard was like, hey, I support a 75 basis point hike, I think that's kind of what triggered some of today. So it may take Monday and Tuesday for us to actually get down to those levels. We'll see. But I think that's kind of where we're at now. And Tesla at this point is just going to trade with the macro, despite the fact that the split's coming up. You got to remember, we basically knew about the split back in March. So we got a little bit of a run then. We sold down quite a bit since then. We've seen it with the cup and handle here, and then we've, the talk about it at the earnings call, then the annual shareholder meeting. We've had a lot of noise about and news about the split. So it's kind of like deafened people's ears at this point. So I think that excitement's kind of fizzled. But again, I don't know. I don't know, but I think I'm kind of feeling flat about it right now. Like, I think like the split excitement is kind of flat. And then 1060. I don't know if we'll hit 1060. It would be awesome if we could. Just seeing how we're trending right now, Monday will definitely be the telltale sign. If the market goes green Monday and we recover from today, I think we'll be fine. But you got to remember, we're at pretty low volume. Just looking at the volume here, I mean, we were at 20 million shares traded. Super low volume, especially heading into a split. Super low volume. I'm not going to hold my breath and hope for anything exciting next week. I mean, heck, we might just stay flat. We might stay around the 890 mark next week. Let me see. What's going on, Reka? Let's see here. What's your thoughts on the intro? Oh yeah, I forgot. I apologize. I know somebody had asked before if I read the questions out loud, because some of you guys aren't watching. What's your thoughts on the interest rate for the next 3 meetings and also heading into 2023? Also the impact on Tesla at that point. So my thoughts are still going to hold, despite the fact that Bullard said that he thinks he's going to go with a 75 basis point hike. He is the most hawkish Fed. We have seen the trend coming down right now. We know the Fed wants to get to 2 to 3% interest rate. And 2 to 3% inflation. By the end of the year, I think right now we're looking at maybe a 3.9% is what the Fed is anticipating by the end of the year. So what they need to do for interest rates to get us there, I'm not sure. So I wish they had gone with a 1% in July, because then that would have definitely meant that we were going to see a little bit more dovish Fed in September. We did not get that, but we did see we beat expectations. 8.5% inflation is still high, but we beat the expectations. So we won't get expectations for next month's CPI until probably the end of this month. But let's say we're looking at, an 8.3, or maybe they even say 8.5, and we come in at an 8.1 or an 8.3. We're trending in the right direction. Whether that's fast enough for the Fed, I don't know. Maybe they go with like a 50 basis point hike in September to bring us down a little bit more. But if we're going to be trending down, and now we're getting to the point in September where we're really going over last year's numbers, and last year's CPI in September was where we really started to go up, because that's where Omicron came in. Or was Omicron or Delta? Oh gosh, I can't remember. I think it might have been Delta at that point, because when Delta hit, everything got shut down again. We had all this supply chain issues get revamped, and then inflation went through the roof again. So when we hit that point, now we're going to be comparing that. So it's really going to be October looking at September's CPI that is going to kind of give us that real year-over-year mark. That could be where we see the massive drop-off. So if the Fed goes with a 25 or 50 basis point hike in September, then come the FOMC meetings after that, we could see either a pause or something. Maybe we see the pause, and gosh, I lost track of when all of the meetings are. I'll have to find the meetings for the next FOMCs. I had them up somewhere. But yeah, so if we don't see a bigger pause or a lower rate hike in September, we should see it by the end of the year. And when it comes to Tesla, it's going to trade just like this. So whatever the Fed decides to do with the rate hikes, the entire market and every stock along with it, a few outliers out there, will trade right along with whatever the range is that the stock market is going to be trading in. Now, when it comes to Tesla going into September, October, and we get the production and delivery numbers, if Tesla really does blow out these numbers, we could outpace the market at that point. Totally possible. Historically, that's how we do it. But you also have to remember that in the time that Tesla has been trading, we really haven't seen anything like this type of a bear market. We saw like the 2017, 2018 timeframe when the Fed was messing around with rates a little bit. We saw then, but that was really it. We haven't had anything long and drawn out like this. So this is the first time Tesla's really felt this. So very uncertain waters at this time. So while since 2017 we've seen a massive 53% average run into the end of the year, we've basically been in a bull market in that time frame. This is the first time we've been in. Now technically we are back in a bull market in the Nasdaq, but it's going to be hit and miss. But I think Tesla's going to do well and fare fine through the end of the year. I've got my updated price targets tomorrow. I'm going to be doing my retire on Tesla update with the new price targets based upon the split. So I'll have that out, and I definitely did increase my end of the year price target. So I think even if we get a more hawkish Fed in September, it's not going to matter. We're still going to run to the end of the year. Let's see here. Yes, yes, it does. So again, that pattern is looking strong. We'll see how it follows. Um, so when it comes to the beta, so I was going to talk about that today. So I don't know if you guys can see it. So what the beta means is, so Tesla trades at a beta of 2.0. That means that it trades twice as much as the broader market. So when you're looking at the Nasdaq is a little bit more volatile, but Tesla basically outperformed the market today, even though it was down 2%. The Nasdaq was down 2%. That's a beta of 1 compared to the market, and it's usually a 2. So if the Nasdaq was at a 2, then we should be down like 3.5%. The S&P, let's see, the S&P was down 1.28%. So based on a beta of 2, we probably would have been around like a down 2.6%. We were only down 2%. So that's how the beta works when you're looking at the numbers here. So, and it's just the broader market. So when you compare it to the major indices, how did we fare based upon the S&P and the Nasdaq? So Tesla outperformed. And the two-thirds beta, which what Willie was talking about, is like with a split, everything is going to be splitting in 2/3. So your stock count's going to go up by 3x. Stocks price is going to split, get divided by 3. So that's how that's going to work. The beta, again, I don't think that works into it. But again, we'll follow next week. I thought we were before, but Willie may be right, and we'll find out next week. Yeah, so it makes sense what you're saying, Willie. $1 split by 3 billion is, yeah, it makes sense. I'll have to see it for sure. I'm a visual kind of guy. Not that I don't believe yet, and I do, but we'll definitely see it next week for sure. Um, let's see here. Yeah, 10,000. I did see that, Jerry. That I saw that right before I left work today. So last week we saw Shanghai had 8,800 vehicles sitting on the dock. This week is 10,000. And if you guys didn't get a chance to watch the video yesterday, we were talking about how Shanghai right now is pushing out 3,000 vehicles per day, 2,000 Model Ys, 1,000 Model 3s. And now they're pushing them out so much faster because of the upgrades for the Model 3 that their wait times are coming down. Everybody in China, they like their stuff now. They move fast. You can see how their production moves. They move fast. So they want their stuff now. Like, I want my vehicle, give it to me now. And they get it. So, this is awesome news to see. And having 10,000 vehicles ready to go out on the ports, don't forget, those all ship out now. The second half of the quarter, which we are now getting into, is usually where they, kind of focus heavier on domestic deliveries. So from this point out, they're kind of splitting half and half for this month. And then September, we should see a much heavier domestic push going on, which if we've already seen lead times for the Model 3 coming down, we'll probably see lead times for the Model Y coming down in September as well. Let's see. Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah. And by the way, that's also true. Your cost basis on all of your shares will come down as well. And I've got to check with my broker and check with yours as well. But like your buy orders right now, I have a buy order in for 750 in my IRA, so that should divide by 3 also automatically. So if you've got it for 750, your buy order should automatically get dropped down to 250. So if you do have any buy orders or sell orders in there for that case, everything should get split by your broker automatically. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Kairov with the Yeah, Giga Texas ramp is harder to track because I don't get much VIN numbers like Troy Test like. However, I can tell it has been accelerating recently and another Giga press has been installed. Yes, I do remember seeing that. So I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures or videos from Giga Austin, but there's a ton of castings sitting outside. One of the things that Tesla likes to do is we're not going to just sit idle and have downtime. These castings aren't going to go bad. We're going to get them all set. We're going to put them outside. So when other areas get ramped up, we are ready to go. We're not going to have to worry about this. Similar to when Shanghai was down for the month back in April, they didn't sit on the sidelines and do nothing. They were building up supplies at that same time. So that's why when they came back in, they hit the ground running because they had plenty of supplies to be able to utilize. They're just like, all right, we've got it. Let's use it. This is the same similar process that they're using over in Austin. They're doing this. The ramp is much slower. Troy Teslake's got that VIN information. I haven't seen his numbers recently, but we know it's slower. But they are putting in that other gigapress. People are assuming and thinking and speculating that maybe it's the 9,000 ton for the Cybertruck. Don't think so. Based upon the information that we had and how long it takes to assemble and disassemble and ship, probably won't see that coming up until the end of September at the earliest. Most likely October. They will get it in, they will get it assembled, and then they'll be able to run some tests on it. And then that's when we're going to see production start, probably in Q2 of 2023 for the Cybertruck, and then volume production by probably the beginning of Q3. So that other gigapress coming in is probably just going to be a Model Y line gigapress, as we know, because that's what they're putting out over there. So it's just going to be another line. But either way, getting another line in there for a gigapress is going to speed up production significantly. Let's see here. Q3. All right, Kairov updated his numbers to in Berlin to 17,000. That's awesome because I've got mine. I actually have to update mine this weekend with the new information that you gave me. So I will update that. Yeah, Texas Austin is so hard to tell. As they've got those just sealed lips over there, not telling us what's going on. Is FSD for real? Well, we're going to find out about FSD 10.69 tomorrow. Again, 1,000 beta users will be getting this tomorrow. And then next week, tentatively, 10,000 more will get it. And then a week after that, it'll be full wide release to everybody who is a beta user right now. I have a feeling this is going to be the real big test before they go full wide release in all of North America. So we'll see what 10.69 is. I have not seen a lot of times we get like the technical notes for all of this to see what's going on. I haven't seen them yet on Twitter. If you guys have, let me know. But I haven't seen all the technical notes that are going into them. Elon is very excited about this. Again, I think this was supposed to be the 10.13, but somebody had mentioned it over at the annual shareholder meeting. So I think it was actually Omar from Holmars had mentioned that it was going to be 10.69. So Elon just made that happen, which is pretty awesome. That's one of the things I love about Elon. Like he hears us and what we say, and he's like, you know what, that's a great idea. We're going to implement that. So it's another reason why I know many of us are big fans of the company and Elon is, he's just down to earth, real, and we all matter. We all exist to him. We're not beneath him. Let's see. Macros are wanky, but last time it ran up. Yeah, dude, seriously, this market this year. So you have to remember, in a bear market, there's usually less volume. And you think about when you're trading after hours, and after hours, there's much lower volume, but higher volatility. So the lower the volume, the higher the volatility is going to be. And if we're in a situation like today, last 3 days, we've seen low volume. And when you're looking at, the overall market, there's been a lot of institutions, a lot of big money just kind of sitting on the sideline, and they dollar cost average on sort of like a quarterly basis. They see how the market's trading over the quarter. They make it, their assessments as to what's going on. They're like, all right, this is the low of the quarter. I'm going to buy in around this time. And that's what they do. And they dollar cost average their way in on a quarterly basis in most cases. So if they're doing that, then, we're coming to the point where, maybe at this point they're bringing the stock market down to be able to get to that point where we're seeing in this cup and handle pattern, they're bringing the market down to that point where they want to now put in their next dollar cost average buy, and they're going to buy in. But there's still a lot of money sitting on the sidelines right now, which is why the market is so wild. The next 2 years will separate the wheat from the chaff. Companies who already are close to the cliff fall. Companies like Tesla are coming back to the beach. That's so true. This is actually something we had talked about earlier this year when we were talking about recession. the potential recession coming, what's going on, how's Tesla going to fare. And my thoughts remain the same as they did back then. And it's just true. If we don't get a recession, Tesla is going to win either way. And Tesla is going to do fine. But if we don't get a recession, it allows the weaker players an opportunity to also survive. If we get a recession, the weaker players are going to fall off. And when the weaker players fall off, that just means that there's more food out there for the bigger animals to play with. And that means that Tesla is going to get a bigger share of that food because there's less people to take it over. So a recession is even better for Tesla. Obviously, there's a lot of other factors involved. It goes into, the economy, and those of us, some of us may suffer in the meantime. But as a shareholder and as the company itself, it will be stronger most likely if we get a recession. So, Elon said at first he thought it was going to be bad. Now he thinks it's going to be a weaker recession. But again, trying to predict the macro and overall worldwide economy stuff is nearly impossible. Really shouldn't do it. But Elon now says that he's thinking we're going to get like an 18-month recession, but a weaker type recession and a massive cliff falling off for inflation. If that ends up happening, I think that we are going to see a very strong Tesla in 2023 and then into 2024 even stronger when the robotaxi hits the road. Let's see. Laurie says, what's my price target for the end of the year? Was it 1240? Actually, it dipped down when we were in massive macro compression. I gotta admit, I was guilty of being like many analysts, and I was going by the macro environment thinking I didn't think we were going to pull out of the macro compression by the end of the year. So I brought my price target down to 1052. Now seeing the new information we've got, and it's just, a wise investor's gotta switch. I can't just be stubborn and hold to it. So I'm making my adjustments. And right now, and yes, I am going to do my full price targets tomorrow, but I'll let you guys know right now because you're on the live stream. So for the end of this year is now 1238. So yeah, about 1240. So 1238 is what I see for the end of this year, which I think was actually what I had earlier before, I saw the macro environment. So just stuck, my initial instincts. I got to stick with my instincts. Let's see. So yeah, so then 1238 divided by 3, let's do, because by the time we hit there, we're going to be split. Where's my calculator at? There we go. So 1238 divided 3. So we're looking for about 413 by the end of the year. That is what my price target is as of right now. Yep, and Willie, you're at 424. So we're pretty darn close. Let's see here. Oh, yes. And sorry, I did not define that. Yes, Willie's right. That's a great way of putting it, Willie. Beta is the sensitivity to the market moves. So for every 1% the market moves, Tesla will move 2%. So that's an awesome way of saying it. Hey, what's going on? What do I think about investing in the Canadian market? I actually honestly don't know much about the Canadian market. But if I can invest in maple syrup and moose, I would be all over that. Otherwise, I truly don't know. I have some friends, and actually quite a few of you guys on here. I know Abhishek is from Ontario. I think the Ontario area, he said, because I'm going to visit him when I go to see when I had Moraine Lake behind me. We're going to go check that out. So there's quite a few on there. So I don't know if you guys on here know much about the Canadian market. Feel free to share. I truly do not know much. Because you guys trade through, what is it, the Toronto Stock Exchange up there? Yep. Okay. So confirmed, it is a Model Y Gigapress over in Austin. Yeah, I was going to say, judging by the time frame, I didn't think it was going to be the Cybertruck one. That would have been exciting, but I don't think so. New Tesla investors should get a monogrammed coffee mug. Longtime investors should get a Model 3. They can get the coffee mug because that'll be the cup and handle. There it is. That's what you get. All the new investors got the cup and handle right here. That's their coffee cup. Where's my car? I think it would depend on how many you own. Let me see. When do you think we'll fill the 743, 247? See, and that for me, I think that's why I want to look at the charts next week after we split. Because if after we split, we can still maintain the cup and handle and that dip down and then the rebound, I think that will be the time that we fill that gap. when it's 247 rather than 743. So again, I'm going to check the charts next week. I need that visual in order to figure this out for myself. But I have a feeling if we fill it, it will be at that time frame. 420. Yeah, and actually, there's a lot of you. I have the whole list, so I still have the competition. So it'll be up. You guys can, if you haven't done it yet, don't do it in the live stream because I cannot check. It's a pain for me. I'll do it in the video tomorrow, so you guys in the pinned comment tomorrow can do it. What your predictions are for the stock price for the end of the year. The end of the year is December 30th. So whatever your stock price predictions are at that time, then I will be giving out the winner a t-shirt. I actually just ordered a new t-shirt myself that should be coming in about 2 weeks. And I have my sister-in-law who will be making ones up very similar to that so you guys can see it. But I will be giving those away to whoever comes in the closest. And if multiple people answer with the same price target, then you will all win the same shirt. And many people have come in with 420 and 69 cents. So if we hit that, and as Elon has said, the most ironic outcome is the usual outcome. So I have a feeling we might actually hit that because 420.69, let's see, 420.69. So that's 1262, and that is all-time highs by the end of the year. And I do think that we have a strong potential of hitting all-time highs by the end of the year. Yeah, I got to check his out because I know I've seen his, he's very, very bullish, obviously, as you can tell. Now, his bear case, when did that go through? Is that to 2030 or 2032? Because like for me right now, my base case in 2030 is 11,000. So that's my base case. So I would imagine his bear case is 10,000 through 2030 also. That's just my guess. But yeah, I mean, if all of these things that Tesla is working on do come to fruition, and they come to fruition by 2030, 10,000 as a bear case, I think is pretty legit. Yeah, hitting 1,000 next week, we can't. Monday's really going to be the telltale sign. Looking at where we're trading right now, I want to say no, not to be a fudster by any means, but I want to say no. But if we open the market green on Monday, maybe something comes out over the weekend. Maybe the Fed comes out and they're like, maybe somebody says something more dovish about the next FOMC meeting, then we could see green. I don't think that's going to happen. Just getting an actual feel. And one of the things, even though I'm a long-term investor, one of the things I talk about is the fact that I'm on here following the charts every day. I follow news and sentiment every day because I want to get this pulse. This is how I get a feel for how the market is moving. And then this is how I get my gut decision as to what's going to go on. And I just kind of feel like we're in a more of a risk-off environment. We've been risk-on for the last month and a half. And that's a long time in the bear market we've been in. That's why we pulled out of the bear market into a bull market. But I still think we're kind of hitting this more of a risk-off environment right now. There's a little more pensive feeling out in the market, not as much excitement as we had been seeing. I think the Fed coming out saying a 75 basis point hike in September kind of took the wind out of the sails a little bit. So it's going to take something big over the weekend, I think, to push us up to that point. Okay, yeah. So 2030. That's what I thought. Thanks, Jerry. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, I think that's totally viable. Yeah, if we hit 840 next week, I'm buying. I'm buying all the way down. Like I said, I already added $20 more today. I'll be adding significantly more next week. Hey, Jay, what's going on? Better late than never. Glad you could join us. Thanks for hopping on. Yeah, the split and dip. And again, as we've been talking, if we don't get the run up, we may still get that dip. And, again, just as my eyes, great buying opportunities. And that's why I'm going to add more. Till 2030, Tesla might have to split its shares another 2 to 3 times at least. I agree, Charlie. This is actually another video I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it out this weekend. I may end up making that next weekend's video once we actually get past the split. But I think I had previously thought we were going to split 5 times this decade, and that was before they announced the 3-to-1 split, because I thought we were going to get a 5-to-1 split. So seeing as we're getting the 3-to-1, I think we might split still another 3 to 4 times this decade. Because if looking at where we're at right now, splitting at the price we're going to split at, if we end up trading the way I think we're going to trade between 2023 and 2024, probably see another split by the end of 2024. Might even see a buyback at that time. I know we've had discussions about should they do it, should they not do it. Elon has said it's on the table as a possibility. So I think we might actually get a buyback and a split at the end of 2024, and then probably 3 more splits after that, depending on how we run, how robo-taxis play into everything when it comes to revenues, how quickly they got Optimus up and running, how energy does. A lot of different factors will play into how many, but I think at least 3 more by the end of the decade. Let's see. Roger's asking, how is the new this new Inflation Reduction Bill will benefit Tesla? So honestly, I mean, as a taxpayer, I would have rather not had it because Tesla doesn't need it. But I think it's actually going to give Tesla more of an edge over legacy auto and everyone else, just because it's realistically whoever's going to be able to produce the most is going to get the biggest benefit from it. And we know Tesla is going to be producing the most vehicles here in North America for the foreseeable future. I can see anybody catching Tesla at all until, the late 2030s, maybe at that point, if they're still around at that point. But Tesla's going to do the best. I think what this Inflation Reduction Bill actually ended up doing was A, costing taxpayers more money, and B, allowing legacy auto to survive. It is giving them an opportunity. I think this was a bailout in disguise. That's my personal opinion, and I know some of you agree with me on this, but that's truly what it is, because legacy auto would not survive. And I was really pissed off today when I found out that GM decided that they were going to do buybacks and dividends for their shareholders, despite the fact that they haven't paid back the bailout that we gave them in 2009. Meanwhile, Tesla paid them off and people still give them crap for it. So that's my piece on that. Not very happy about that, but whatever. We just need to voice our opinion on this as loud as we can, because I'm really angry about the fact that they're allowed to get this corruption and get through with this. And that's literally going to be the reason they survive. And I'd be really happy to see GM crumble into bankruptcy, despite the fact that they got this secret bailout going on. But either way, again, going back to Tesla and more happier news, I think that Tesla is going to benefit significantly more from this than anyone else. Just because of the fact that Tesla hasn't been able to utilize any EV tax credits for the last few years because they capped out so long ago. And so now they're going to be able to reap these benefits again, and consumers are going to be doing much better. Tesla can play around with pricing. I think that's part of the reason why they took the Model 3 long range off of ordering, because they're going to be reconfiguring things. They're probably going to be reconfiguring pricing. I would say that hitting 2023, we're going to see a lot of new pricing coming out for a lot of vehicles in 2023. Some may go up, some may come down, just to kind of balance it, to have more of their vehicles be eligible for this EV tax credit. We know that, when it comes to North American assembly, that's not a question. All the ones in North America are assembled in North America. So even if they do open up a factory in Canada, those will still be eligible also. So now it comes down to the battery components, which we have seen. I think it's CFRA came out with their new update. So they went from $1,145 for the price target to $1,245 because of the EV tax credit. I think we're going to see a lot more analysts do this, but because of the battery material component factor, we still don't know all the fine details behind this. What vehicles from Tesla are actually going to qualify for this. I think some people are kind of waiting for that to come out before they make any updated decisions. However it works out, I have no doubt that Elon and the crew are over there working on figuring out, all right, what vehicles are going to qualify? Do we need to change anything here? Do we need to switch anything with suppliers? A lot of these EV manufacturers have the same suppliers, so I think they're all kind of falling into the same boat. So we'll see how that plays out for the end of the year. But again, I think Tesla's going to benefit mostly from this based out of everybody. Do I think 247 will be the lowest point we fill this year, maybe ever going forward? Yes, I think yes. I think we'd fill that gap down to 247, maybe dip a little bit below, because it's not always an exact bounce off of the gap. Sometimes it is, like when we hit the 900, it was, but now we've fallen further. So it's possible we fall further, but I think whatever the new low is, if we do fill that gap, that would be the lowest, and we probably would never hit anything lower than that again. Again, don't know the future, but based off of what I know and the fact that we are growing as a company, and the PE over time is going to compress significantly with every single quarterly earnings report that we get. So there's only so much further we can fall. So unless Tesla fundamentally crumbles, we will not see the stock price crumble as well. So the more time that goes on, the less chance there is that we fall further. So a stock buyback. Danny wants to know explaining a stock buyback. So a stock buyback is when a company decides to go out there and there's shares out in the open market, and Tesla will go out there and buy up those shares. So when you look at the outstanding shares in the market, I think it was 1,153 or 1.15 billion shares that were out in the open market. Tesla would buy those. So now it comes strictly to supply and demand. Right now, the supply of shares is X. We are now going to split. So we're going to end up having, I think it's 5 billion shares out there in the market. So if we have those 5 billion shares, that means that Tesla, the share price is based off of that. If Tesla reduces that by 1 billion shares, that just means that the value of every share that is out there is going to go up mathematically. I can't do the math in my head right now because I'm completely fried, but the stock price will go up accordingly based upon however many shares they decide to buy back. Now, in many cases, and Apple is like a pro at doing this, what they'll end up doing is, because a lot of their high-level executives and board members get compensation when it comes in shares, just like Elon and Kimball and a lot of the board members do for Tesla, they get paid in shares. Well, the company needs to get those shares from somewhere. So the company would then buy those shares back, and then they would issue those shares to those executive board members. So they do a split to get more shares, then they buy those shares back at the same time. That's why many a time you'll see a split and a buyback happen at the same time. So they put more shares out there, then buy a bunch back themselves, stabilizes the stock price. They now have shares available in the company to be able to get them into executives' hands for their bonus payouts, and the stock does better, and just rinse and repeat. And they keep on doing that over and over again. So hopefully that explains the buybacks for you there. But that essentially is what the buybacks are, is the company just removing some shares from the open market. Let's see. Heard that Tesla is lobbying an Ontario government to let it build. Yes. Yeah, we actually discussed that. I think it was last week. So they're lobbying out there because in Canada, by law, anybody who is lobbying to do anything, they have to disclose that information. So Tesla had to disclose that they were out there lobbying for this. I had gotten some news from, I apologize, I can't remember his name, but he actually works up there at a legacy automotive manufacturer. And right across the street, there are two giant fields right now, two big lots that are being cleared. And nobody knows what they're for. I'm trying to get some insider information, some people who live up that way, to be able to check the records, because they should be in the public records for anybody's name who is on there trying to develop should be able to find that information to see if it actually is Tesla. But I don't know at this point if Tesla does own it. Looking at the last couple of years when most countries had, almost a zero interest rate, buying land and property was huge because you could buy lots of property for very low interest rates. So it would have been very wise for Tesla to go up there and buy some land for potential purchases for factories. I know with my company, we supply a bunch of companies for buildings. We do construction, retail, and rentals. And so we've been supplying a lot of Amazon warehouses here in Connecticut. And a lot of these Amazon warehouses were literally bought and paid for strictly because they got very low interest rates. So they have supplied them. And for the next 2 years, they're literally building them, locking the doors, and letting them sit there. Some are being used as office space just so they can rent them out and make some money. Others are not even going to be utilized because they saved so much money by building during these times with low interest rates that they were able to just lock them and not even make them profitable for 2 years. So Tesla may have done very similar things with buying property and land. Kairav posted his Tesla chart over at the Discord. So if you guys know, I think it's actually, yes, it is in the description of this video. We have a Discord chat. Please let me know if the link isn't active. I did not update it in the last 4 days, so it may not be active. If not, I'll update that. But we've got a Discord chat over there, and he always puts his information there if you guys aren't on Twitter also. Charlie, buyback might not happen this year as Tesla is used it for cash for building up more gigafactories in the near future. Yeah, I don't think the buyback's going to come this year unless something magical comes out in Q3 that they're like, hey, we actually have a ton of extra cash to do nothing with. I don't think we're going to get it this year. I think we probably won't see that buyback till 2024 because at that point, if we get a split and buyback at the same time, we will have at that point robotaxis are on the road, FSD is solved, Cybertruck is out there. A lot of the projects that they are currently working on will already be paid for. And by the end of 2024, we should have probably at least 5 or 6 more factories already starting to build and ramp. So, the cash expenditures at that point may be a little bit less, so they'd have more money to be able to put into buybacks. See you later, Willie. Hope you have enough dinner for all of us because we're all coming over. Let's see. Jay, cost of production for Tesla will keep improving, and pricing for Tesla products will have more sales flexibility, tax credits, and pricing make pricing even more flexible. Yeah, that's another great point too. The pricing power Tesla is going to have when it comes to these EV tax credits is going to be massive. So I'm saying when we hit next year, Tesla is going to be able to look at their prices and say, well, what do we want to do? They're probably going to, I'd say November time, do a strong hard assessment at where is production ramp going? How quickly is production ramping up? Where are we with keeping up with demand? Where is demand at in comparison to production? How is this EV tax credit going to affect the demand? Because when you have basically a $7,500 discount on a majority of their vehicles, demand will definitely go up. And they're going to have to play with the numbers and say, how much is demand going to go up versus how quickly is production going to ramp? And then they can fluctuate pricing accordingly. But because Tesla has such large margins on their vehicles, they have even more luxury. They're going to have a $7,500 cushion now to play with on top of the massive cushion they already have when it comes to pricing power. This is why they're so far ahead of everyone else and why nobody can catch them. Because most other EV makers, I think Ford has the only vehicle, if they're not lying, I think the F-150 Lightning is the only profitable EV out there right now. I could be wrong, or at least in North America. Could be wrong, but I believe that is the only profitable one. So nobody has pricing power. If you don't have profit on your vehicles, you have zero pricing power. You have to literally make vehicles and sell them below cost just to get them out there and do. I mean, Tesla did the same thing. Tesla basically did that for the first few years. It's just the nature of ramping. But a lot of these manufacturers are going through that. They don't have the luxury that Tesla has right now because they haven't gone through the hard times. Yes, Charlie, and the credit rating upgrade to come by the end of the year might be another catalyst. That's going to be awesome too, and I think that's where we're going to get it in November. So I think my birthday presents that Tesla and Elon are going to give to me are going to be the credit rating upgrade from the S&P, and we're going to get the announcement of a gigafactory in Indonesia. So I have asked Elon, I sent him a request that those are my birthday presents to me from Tesla. So we'll find out. And I know that Tesla can't control the credit rating upgrade. That's coming from the S&P, and they're not very friendly. But yes, that's going to be a huge catalyst. I think Q4 is going to have a lot of massive catalysts. So unless the macro has something massive that holds us down, we're going to see a very strong quarter in Q4. Let's do. Let me see. Charlie, now only about 42% of Tesla shares are owned by institutions. Credit rating is upgraded. When did you get that number, Charlie? Last I knew, it was 42, and then it went up to 46, and then 55, or 53 or 55%. So we actually flipped for the first time that I had ever seen. So that was the last time. Maybe we did come down. Maybe some institutions sold. I know all the hedge funds just came out with all of their 13F filings. So I just let me know when you got your numbers out. I'm just not sure. But yes, institutions do own in comparison to like the Apples, Amazons, other FANG stocks, institutions own like 75 to 85% of those, whereas Tesla's, at most 50 to 55%. So yes, when they get that credit rating upgrade, it's going to be a massive push into the stock for institutions. Popcorn, what are stock gaps? Yes, I know I was going to talk about this previously. Let me jump over to here really quick. Where is Yahoo? So stock gaps are when you see a closed price. So like right here, we closed at 850. And then the next day we opened at 891. So we have a gap from 850 to 891. So that is what is called a stock gap. Stock gaps fill 9 out of 10 times. It's like that opening where, the algorithm is like, ooh, we need to fill that gap. Something needs to be in there. We need to fill it. So 9 out of 10 times it fills. Sometimes it fills same day. And sure enough, it did. 11 cents off is close enough to consider that a gap fill. So 850, we filled that gap, and that was good. So that resolved that gap. It satisfied it. We are good to go on to the next one. So after that, we had seen a gap from 900 up, which this actually isn't updated, but that's fine. So we saw a gap from 900 up, and that got filled as well. So that's what stock gaps are. So currently right now, going back in time, we have a gap at 742. Let me see. Where is that one? 742 right here. So 742.50. We have a gap that was created on July 20th. We gapped up to 765, and we never came back down to fill it. I use Yahoo just because of the way it's laid out here. It's very easy to follow because you can see the whole next day and see if you ever filled the gap. So we never filled the 742.50. And then going up, we created the 776.58 gap as well. And we never came back down to fill that. So those are the two gaps that we currently have right now. And again, fill out at 9 out of 10 times. They don't have to. This year alone, Tesla has filled every single gap that they have made. So we filled every single one. There's a good chance that we fill these two as well. Looking back to gaps that we had created back in last October, there were some big gaps. We ran up to all-time highs. FOMO was going through the roof. Everybody's like, oh my God, we're never ever going to fill those gaps. We're never coming down to those prices again. We're never going to be under $1,000. Meanwhile, the RSI is pushing over 90. And again, people are like, technical analysis is self-fulfilling prophecy, blah, blah, blah. It is, I get it. And it truly is, because the more people who follow it, the more it works. But like, just looking at it, RSI was super high. We were very overbought. We were due for a pullback. And then sure enough, everybody's like, well, what could possibly cause us to pull down this far? And the most random things usually come out and cause it. And sure enough, Elon on my birthday announces that he's selling his shares to cover all the taxes for his options. So, that's what came up. That's what filled those gaps. And sure enough, we filled every single gap. We had 2 months of just like consolation meetings. We're just like consoling each other during those 2 months here on this channel. It was awesome. And I loved going through all of that with you guys. We learned a whole lot about ourselves and how we handle our emotions during stock movements. And so, yeah, we got through it. But yeah, gaps will fill the most random times. Then after Elon finished selling, the stock started to run up again. Then sure enough, all of a sudden mid-January hit, and we started that massive downfall into our bear market. That's when the Fed started going more hawkish. We got talks about the interest rates going up. The market was reacting about a month earlier than everyone expected. And then we filled all of the other gaps that we hadn't touched before. And now here we are coming back up. So when people get into these mindsets that we're never coming down to it, I never like to say never. I'll be positive. I try to be as realistic as possible, but I will never say never, because the most random things happen. We had like 4 black swan events happen this year, which usually a black swan event happens like once every 10 years. And we got 4 this year alone. So Farzad, what's going on, my man? How's it going? Thanks for joining. Farzad, if you ever want me, I'd love to have a chat with you. You have some awesome people on your channel. I would love to be on there and chat with some of them too, and chat with you as well. I definitely want to. Maybe I'll have you on my channel. You guys let me know in the comments if you want Farzad on here, because I know I do. Let me see. Has there ever been talk about a higher than 75 kilowatt mainstream car? I feel like that would be highly popular. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that yet. I have a feeling we'll hear about it in the future. Not sure if it'd be, I'm not sure how that would work out. I'm not as much of a battery guru either. So I would have to dig more into that. So I will definitely get some more information about it, because that's something I would like to know about too, is more about the batteries. Obviously, I know the 4680 is coming out. They're going to be more efficient. New Blade batteries that they've got are much better also. So I will definitely get more adept at the batteries. Let's see. Has Elon finished selling Twitter now? He said yes. Going back to what he said in April, where he said he had nothing more planned. I know everybody blew a gasket at that, thinking that he lied. Things changed. Things came up. We're going to find out by October 17th. We will know for sure because that's when the court date and the hearing are going on. So we'll have more information at that point. So yeah, I don't think he's going to sell anymore unless he, for some reason, has the last few financial backers fall out. I think we're going to be fine because, I think he actually sold more than he needed to just to cover a little extra gap to see what goes on. I don't think he's going to sell anymore. And as a matter of fact, I think we might end up getting him buying some shares. That might actually be another surprise catalyst that comes in October also. Let's see. After a split August 25th, do you think Tesla price can hit 1,000 in 2023? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not even a question. I think we're going to hit 1,000 by the end of the year. I think we have a very strong potential of hitting all-time highs by the end of the year. That's not even a question in my mind. Let me see. Tesla could configure the Tesla Model 3 long-range battery capacity through software to lower the price and meet the $55,000 limit. I think that's what they're doing because I know they're going to look at the cost, bring that down, work on it. And heck, maybe they go with like a 4680 structural pack Model 3. Don't know. Again, I'm not very good with the batteries and how all of that cost structure works behind it, but maybe that's something that they do also. I don't know, but I have a feeling they're going to do that. And I mean, I'm getting my Model Y. I'm going to try to push it off to the beginning of next year to get the tax credit. But I know for me, I totally lost my train of thought. Sorry, my neighbors were loud. Totally gone. Fleeting thoughts, just going away. Awesome times. It'll come back to me. I know for sure it'll come back to me. So yeah, so I don't even know. Totally lost. Oh, yes, that's what it was. So the software. So I know my buddy who got it, and I know a lot of people have talked about it too. That's the awesome thing about these cars is you can get a car one day, they could do a software update, and your car is now better the next day with a software update. It's awesome. Like you can't do that with Legacy Auto. It's fantastic. You get your Legacy Auto, and your car may get a little bit better by the 2,000 mile mark, and then from there, it's going to get crappier as time goes on. That is not the case when it comes to EVs. Steve, what's going on? Hey, if any of you guys are out in the Midwest anywhere, Steve travels around playing 90s country music. It is awesome. So if you guys are ever traveling around in those areas, check him out. In pretty much every one of my videos, he puts a comment with a link to his page, so you can follow their tour. And if you ever do see Steve and meet him, definitely buy him tacos and a margarita. That I owe him tacos and a margarita. Yes, thank you, Cesario. Hit the like button, everyone. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Let's see. I'm usually fried on Fridays after work. Who does he? Oh, man. You know what? I got to tell you, though, coming back from vacation, my job is very stressful. I've got some things. I don't even know if any of my coworkers are watching this, but I'm burning out. I've got a game plan to get out of my job. I need to de-stress. It's not good for my health right now. But even after a long week, coming back to chat with you guys get me all excited. So I truly appreciate all of you guys for this, because no matter how fried and burnt out I am, this is what I love doing, is sharing this time with you guys. So thank you for being here. Thank you, Charlie. Yes, I hope my birthday wish comes true. Last year, Elon gave me a massive buying opportunity. So maybe he'll give me the opposite. Instead of the stock falling for buying, he'll have the stock go up. Time for bed in Ireland. Yes, thank you for being on today. I know many of you in the UK, it's a 5-hour difference, so I know it's late there for you. I'm going to try over the weekends to do an earlier live stream so you guys can stay on for longer too. So I appreciate you coming on and staying up late for us. Let's see. After 2 weeks, where can we see Tesla stock price? Well, if we go back over to, let's see here, where are we at? If we go to here, and this is the cup and handle that we're seeing the start of. So again, we see the cup and the handle here. So if, and again, this is a big if, but if we follow this same trend and pattern, we could see this little bit of a sell-off post-split with macro news going on and different things. So post-split, we could see that 247 gap get filled. Now I say 247, that's post split, which is 742. We could see it get filled and then run up from there. So 2 weeks from now would be end of the month. So we might be kind of right around this point. So maybe flat from where we are now, maybe hitting that 840 mark, testing that bottom before we break down below it, and then bounce right off of that 742 because there's the 776 gap, but the next support is around 740. So that could potentially be what plays out over the next couple of weeks. That's the potential. So I'm going to follow this and monitor it. I'll keep you guys posted on what I see, but I think that's where we could be at over the next 2 weeks, is kind of around that 840 mark and then anticipating a break below the 840 before we bounce back up. I don't have an 8 ball. Actually, I don't have a crystal ball. I really it's when you're trying to figure out what's going on with the stock market in the near term, it is like an 8 ball. Well, all right, what's going to happen? I don't know. Try again later. That's truly what it is. Yes. Oh, yes. A fortune telling 8 ball. Yeah. Mine just gives me its best guess possible. So again, that's why I follow the charts. I follow news. I follow sentiment. Make the best guesses that I can. But again, for me, dollar cost averaging and just keeping a stockpile of cash on the side is the best way for me to play the market and just add more shares. If I had a ton of cash, I would just dump it in and set it and forget it, but I don't. So I'm trying to accumulate as much as I can now. Yes, Jerry. Yeah, I want to get Rob on here too. Warren would be awesome. I got to reach out to all these guys. I'm definitely going to have Dr. Jack on here. We're going to talk about health and wealth. I want to get in with Rob and Farzad. So this community is awesome, and I cannot wait to be able to chat with all of these guys. I mean, these guys to me are like legends. And I know Farzad's newer to the community, but he has such great insight as to what is going on out there. So I definitely want to pick his brain on a lot of stuff. Let's see here. What else we got? Let's see. The tax rebate is GM's entire profit margin on the 2023 Bolts. Meanwhile, Tesla, you know what? You're absolutely right. Tesla's got 23% margins without it, and they're going to have even bigger margins with a $7,500 margin on top of that. And GM literally has nothing. That's why this is a bailout for legacy auto, and it drives me insane. Because this is the only way they're going to survive. Because otherwise, without this, I have no doubt legacy auto would have guaranteed been bankrupt by 2025. Ford might have gotten by without it because they have shrunk their business down to really their core business. So I think Ford would have been okay. But GM, this is literally saving their ass. Am I allowed to say ass on here? I don't know. I did it anyway. I don't care. For the burnout, according to 91% of people are dissatisfied with the, let me see. For the burnout, according to the new poll, 91% of people are dissatisfied with their cars. The other 9% are Tesla owners. I thought you were going to say 91% of people are dissatisfied with their jobs. Yeah. Yeah, definitely burned out there. But yeah, I'm Tesla owners. And I mean, that's one of the things that we had seen some stats on recently was, Tesla owners and the satisfaction surveys, and Tesla owners are more apt to buy another Tesla or a second Tesla than anybody else. And it's like light years beyond everyone else. It's not even close. You are very welcome. And if you guys don't follow Kairov, he's over on Twitter also at @TeslaBot. He's our personal channel's version of Troy Tesla. He's very accurate with his numbers. And he's awesome. And he's a younger guy too. He's 15 years old. Really astute with numbers. I'm very, very happy with his abilities. So definitely help him out. Support him over on Twitter if you guys have not already. Let's see. Gene Weasley asked you earlier that after the split, do you think Tesla can hit 1,000 by 2023? And you said 2022. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. My mistake, Jerry. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes. So post split in 2023, do I think it's going to hit $1,000? That's a tougher one. I don't think we'll hit 1,000 in 2023. I think we'll hit it in 2024. And I think we'll hit it in 2024. And that's when we see the next split. So yes, I apologize for answering it that way. Thank you, Jerry, for correcting that. Yes. I think we're going to see $1,000 post split in 2024. Joke. You know what? I'll take jokes, man. I appreciate the laughs there right now. That is good. I appreciate that. Let me see. Clueless, I'm going to put you up here. So it doesn't work, but it does. I mean, it does because we see it happen all the time. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy. We see it. The more people who follow it, it does follow. A lot of swing traders do trade off of these patterns, and a lot of swing traders do make a lot of money off of this. I am not one of them. So I am more of, like you said, Buffett buys and holds. Truly, that is the kind of investor I am. That is what, if you guys who are long-term investors as well, I would recommend that, not financial advice, but that is why Warren Buffett is so successful. So Clueless, you are absolutely correct there, but it could be random, but you see the patterns happen over and over again, and they do come to fruition more often than not. So it is something to follow. And again, it is just a piece of what I do, but I appreciate your sentiment. Driving a Tesla, essentially driving a fancy iPad. Chet, that's hilarious. Hilarious and ironic. I actually made a note yesterday to myself. There's these little epiphanies. I make notes in my phone. Tesla sells an experience and life upgrades. Everyone else just sells a vehicle. And truly, that's what it is. Like, you get in a Tesla and it is an experience. It is not a vehicle. It's an experience. You are upgrading your life when you purchase a Tesla. And then when you start to get into the entire Tesla ecosystem, you have now upgraded everything about your life. No other automotive maker has the ecosystem that Tesla has. So this is where we are at when it comes to Tesla. This is why Tesla is not an automotive maker. Tesla is an experience. Tesla is a life experience. And that is what you are buying when you are getting a Tesla and when you are investing in the company. Let's see. Tesla joining the Dow. That's another good question. So post split, they might actually join the Dow. We saw this S&P inclusion after the split in 2020. There has not been, and I got to double check. I don't think that there has been an automotive maker in the Dow since 2009 when GM dropped out when they went bankrupt. I believe that is the last time an automotive maker was in the Dow. Tesla would be the first one to get in there since then. And if the stock price, that's why I think if they got a 5-to-1 or a 10-to-1 split, it would have definitely been in there. With a 3-to-1, I don't know. But I have a feeling they will definitely get included into the Dow at some point, if not this year. In the future, they will definitely get in there. Timothy West, great name. Tim, I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope things are going well. What would Tesla's next split be in 2024 or 2025? 3-to-1, 5-to-1, or 7-to-1? It's really going to depend at that point where we're running. I think Tesla went with a safer 3-to-1 this time around because of the macro environment. By 2024, if they split by the end of the year, there's a strong chance that they are going to be in a less PE compression environment. So going with a 5-to-1 at that point, or maybe a 7-to-1 would be more realistic. I don't think they'll go with a 3-to-1 because if they went with a 5-to-7 or 1 to 10-to-1 this time around, would have brought the stock price down a lot lower. We know there's a lot of people out there still waiting to short the heck out of Tesla right now. So if they got that massive pullback, they could have been shorted heavily and it could have gotten ugly. So I think this is a safer bet for Tesla this time around, going with a 3-to-1. So with that said, going into an environment in the future, 2024, we're now going to have investor grade rating, a lot more institutions in the stock. So it's going to be a lot healthier foundation when it comes to the stock price. So they can get away with doing a 5-to-1 or 7-to-1 if the stock price is pushing up to that $1,200 level, and they can pull down to that $150 to $200 range and feel safer at that point. So I don't think we'll get a 3-to-1. I think we'll end up getting that 5-to-1 or 7-to-1 at that point. What you got here? Chet. Wolfpack has a song called Dad, He Bought a Tesla. Highly recommend checking it out. 70s funk fusion jazz. I will definitely check that out. And Farzad, if you are still watching, maybe if you check that out, maybe you could do a cover of that with your band, because that would be pretty awesome. Let's see. Yes. Oh, exactly. Exactly what I just pointed out. And you're absolutely right. I think that's exactly the reason why they went with a 3-1, just to make it a safer bet, a safer play. Again, I wish there went more. I wanted to start trading options in it. I don't have enough capital right now to trade options, even if we split 3-1. That's fine, though. I still have plenty of time to learn how to do it for next time around. Let's see. All through comments. I'm through all that. So that is good. Is there anything else? Let me see what else we had going on today. There was some news I wanted to jump into. Let's see. I've got the double test. Let me see. Actually, let me jump onto Twitter here. Can you do a stock split reversal? Well, there is a reverse split. It's usually a bearish sign if a stock does a reverse split. You usually see a lot of companies that are like under $1 do a reverse split, because when they do that, then they can get back into the NASDAQ, because the NASDAQ, you have to be above, I think, $2 to be in the NASDAQ. So, they would do a reverse split to be able to get back into the indices and trade there. So that's you usually don't want to see a reverse split. That is kind of what usually, if you see a reverse split. Actually, one of the guys I was talking to at work today, can't remember what he just bought recently, but he bought something. It was a $10 stock, dropped down to like 22 cents. He bought a whole bunch of shares, went up to 97 cents. So he's all excited. And then all of a sudden he woke up in the morning, it was $12. And he's like, oh my God, I made bank. And I was like, no, you got a reverse split and you got screwed. And so usually that's like the nail in the coffin. If a company reverse splits, it's time to get out. Let's see. Let's check Twitter quick and see if anything new happened. Dr. Jack. Yeah, if you guys don't follow Dr. Jack, follow him as well, because truly, when it comes down to it, you can't enjoy your wealth without health. So definitely follow Dr. Jack. Let's see what else we have on here. Who do you guys follow on Twitter also? Maybe there's some people that I actually haven't found yet on Twitter. So whoever you guys follow on Twitter, let me know in the comments, because I would love to be able to follow them as well. Farzad, Green Hills. Oh yeah, this Green Hills thing, man. I cannot wait for that to get past us. We're going to hit a point where the reality is going to come out with FSD, what it can truly do, how many lives it's saving. The fact that I see so many times every day, people are getting in accidents, dying from accidents, whatever it is, drives me insane. And then people are like, oh, some FSD got into one accident, time to shut it down because it's dangerous. Nah, man, it's Green Hills has got to get shut down, because I don't even know what they produce. They're very, very much like politicians. They're out there just spewing hate on somebody else to make them, to make their opponent look worse, so that people are like, well, I'm going to choose you over them because you're not as bad as they are. No, man, tell me what you can actually do, and then I'll make my decision. Let's see. And here you go. Here's a Tesla bot. So Kyra, if you're still watching, here's his info on here. So let's see. We've got deliveries Q3, 367 and 469. I like the 469. Well done, sir. Yeah, my numbers are close to the same. I got to update them this weekend. I was a little bit lower in Q3. I still think that they're going to be hitting 500,000 in Q4. I think Q4 is going to be very much like we saw in 2020, where we just came shy of that 500,000 vehicle mark. We might come just shy of the 500,000 vehicles for one quarter, which is absolutely amazing. Let's see. Kevin, not a lot going on. Pizza. I could order some pizza. I got Subway waiting for me right now. Let's see. Let me see. Paul Mampilli? Who's Paul Mampilli? I don't even know that name. How do I not even know that name? I hope you're not funning me. Let's find out. We're going to do it right now. Paul Mampilli, Pilli Guru, starting the stream. Doge, growth songs, not investment advice, Tesla Bitcoin. I'm on board. I'll do it. Follow. Thank you for that. Let's see. Is it wise to sell after the split? I personally no. I would not. Some swing traders might want to play it that way because they're anticipating the sell-off after the split. I would stay away from it personally. Not something I would do. If you guys want to do that game, go ahead. Not for me. Just because, again, as a long-term investor, I'm not looking to swing trade. I do it in my IRA, so I'm anticipating that pullback to that 750 slash 250 level. So for me, that's what I'm waiting for, but just in my IRA. Let me see. What's your views on NHTSA and their grudges against Tesla? It's hit and miss with NHTSA because honestly, sometimes what they do supports Tesla, and sometimes they're really digging in. Personally, I think it's a good thing when we have NHTSA, when we have a lot of other people out there giving a lot of criticism for what Tesla is doing, because it allows Tesla to learn. We know Tesla learns and adapts very quickly. So the more feedback they can get, the faster they can update and get themselves even better. So if somebody's going to go in there and they're really going to dig deep on Tesla and nitpick every tiny little thing, Tesla's going to be like, screw you. We're going to go in there and update all of these things and make you shut your mouth to prove you wrong. I think this is actually a good thing. So for me, I don't mind their grudges. I don't mind them diving in there. I don't mind bears going after Tesla to really dive in there to do all these things, because it just gives more fuel to the fire for Tesla to get better. Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Now I'm following him, and I will get some more info from him as well. Let me see. I'm going to scroll quick, and then I'm going to get off of here. Again, it has been a long week for me, and this has been awesome. I truly thank you guys for being on here. Totally makes my week. And Stephen Mark Ryan. Maybe I'll watch a Stephen Mark Ryan video just to get the evening going. Actually, I do need to watch She-Hulk. I haven't watched that yet. Tesla crashed to 330 per share before. Wow. Let's see. James Cat. John Crider. John Crider is awesome too, if you haven't seen him. And Gary Black, if you guys don't follow Gary Black, definitely recommend. I know he was just on Farzad, his show the other day. Gary Black is one of my favorites. Gary Black to me is like the perfect bridge between like Wall Street analysts and Tesla social media analysts. He's that perfect bridge between the two. I love his analysis on everything, and he keeps everything grounded. He's like the grounded bull. Elon secession. Yeah, we knew that. That was from before. All right, we're getting into some older stuff here. All right, well, that's all I've got for you guys on here. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys. Actually, let me check questions before I go. When Tesla gets investment grade upgrade or going higher, is Tesla holding back? Oh yeah, I got to finish questions. I can't go off here without answering questions. Is Tesla holding back on building more factories, or is it getting the approvals of other countries and holding them back? I don't know. I think there's being very tight-lipped on a lot of this. Personally, I think they have a lot of things in the works, and we're going to get a flurry of information about a lot of factories coming all at once. That's my personal opinion. That's my personal feeling. Whether that actually happens or not, I think they are. I think we are going to hear probably 5, maybe 6 more factory announcements by the end of 2023. Because thinking about how Tesla needs to ramp up and like right now they need to ramp as quickly as possible. So they're doing the math in their heads. They're getting the factories like, all right, how long is it going to take us to ramp factories? How long is it going to take us to build factories? What do we need for supplies to be able to ramp all of these factories up? With the supply chain issues, how quickly can we get all of these supplies? They're doing the math. Elon is brilliant when it comes to this. So they're doing all the math to figure out what they need to do to get all their ducks in a row and time it all out. And I think as long as supply chain issues allow it, they will have about 6 factories announced by the end of 2023. All right. That was the last question. Good one to end on. Again, you guys are awesome. Thank you all so much. Tomorrow, I will be putting out my Retire on Tesla update with post-split numbers with my new price targets out there and just sharing, how many shares do you need by what year to be able to retire on Tesla with $1 and $1.5 million. I'll get that out to you tomorrow, guys. Thank you all so much for being on. You make my week awesome, and I will see you all later.